Assembly Member Pigeon.
Thank you very much. And obviously we're clearly looking at process here, not the substance, the discussions that we had earlier about what had been going on in the Met. So a few areas I'd just like to seek some clarification. Perhaps I could start with you, Mr Mayor, please. In paragraph 29, and it's already been mentioned this morning, that early September 2021, correspondence was exchanged between the Mayor and the Home Secretary confirming the extension of the Commissioner's appointment, and correspondence showed that you'd expressed a preference for a 3-year extension to enable the Mayor elected in May 2024 to play a role in the selection of the next Commissioner. Do you want to respond to that?
Yeah.
Because there were overwhelming grounds, you've already listed lots, which might suggest you wouldn't want the Commissioner to stay in post. So do you want to set out why you supported that?
It's a process point. It's a courtesy Boris Johnson gave to me. So Boris Johnson could have decided to extend Bernard Hogan-Howe in advance of the elections in 2016, and what Boris Johnson did, to his credit, was to allow the new mayor to be elected in May 2016 and then to make a decision on the then commissioner and a new commissioner following that. And so that's the reason why. 1 year was clearly just kicking the can down the road, so it made more sense if you're going to extend to 3 years. So I did support the Home Secretary in her decision to extend the former commissioner's contract, ostensibly, and this is also a matter of record, which is confirmed. Appreciate Sir Tom didn't have the time to meet the Home Secretary, but in her written ministerial statement, where the Home Sec confirms, because of the pandemic, because of the need for stability and experience, she decided to extend the contract, which I supported. Before the extension, the Home Secretary and I had discussed the progress we'd made in relation to the core issue we were focused on, which is reducing violent crime, and we had made progress and continue to make progress. The incidents that caused me concern before the extension, we'll come on to hopefully, is concerns in relation to the black community's confidence or lack of in the police, which led to the action plan in the face of opposition from the Commissioner. We can come on to that. The concerns in relation to Clapham Common, we can come on to that. At the time of the extension, we didn't know the full facts of what Wayne Couzens had done and not done. That only came out on the 1st of October because of reporting restrictions. The Commissioner was aware, I wasn't. And the other thing which happened before the extension was the publication of the Morgan report, of course. After the extension, a number of additional things arise. After the extension, we've got the situation in relation to what we now know about Wayne Couzens in relation to other incidents, and also in relation to Sarah Everard's poor abduction, rape and murder. We had the Commissioner supporting, after the extension, wave down a bus as advice to women who are concerned. After the extension, I'm told there's another police officer who's been charged and arrested for rape. I speak to the Commissioner after the extension and say it's last chance saloon for her in relation to concerns I have about these issues. I rang up the Home Secretary over a number of times after the extension, and I told the Home Secretary my confidence had been shaken in the Commissioner as well. And I wrote to the Home Secretary in relation to the need for a public inquiry akin to Stephen Lawrence and the issues raised in the Lawrence inquiry. The Home Secretary, to her credit, agreed to appoint Dame Angiolini, and I agreed with her, don't have a public inquiry because it may delay things. Start, with the terms of reference, and if there's a need to make it into public inquiry, because you've got powers to compel, you can do so. And I also asked the police to look into a review of culture and standards. I disagreed with the Commissioner's suggestion for who should undertake that review, and the Commissioner agreed to my suggestion of Dame Louise Casey. After the extension is the inquest into the horrific murders of Stephen Port, Anthony Walgate, Jack Taylor, Gabriel Kavari and Daniel Whitworth. The inquest is after the extension of the contract, and you'll be aware I asked the HMI to look into the issue of the incidents arising after that. And of course you've got Hutton. I'd make this point, which the Chair didn't want to go into, but it's just a matter of record. It's a matter of record that when Sir Tom was Chief Inspector, the Met Police Service wasn't in the engaged process. They weren't in the engaged process after he stopped being Chief Inspector and after Dame Cressida had left.
Yeah, well, we've had a clear response on that, so I don't want to get into that. I just want to be very clear that you supported, in the September of 2021, as is written in this report, for Dame Cressida to have 2 years, and in fact, for the reasons you've given, you had actually called for 3 years.
Correct.
Some stuff was known before that, more you're saying came out after.
Correct.
Can I just get some clarification on a couple of other points in the report? So, on page 21, in the footnote, it states that the IOPC draft report re-Operation Houghton was sent to MOPAC in September 2021 and also to the Met Police. So, Mr Mayor, who saw this in MOPAC and were you briefed on this, either verbally or in writing?
So the first anybody in MOPAC knew about the WhatsApp messages, the detail and so forth was on the 27th of January 2022. On my insistence, and this was something that had begun recently, the police were letting MOPAC know about cases of complaints. No detail was given in relation to Houghton.
This is the IOPC, not the Met. The IOPC draft report was sent about Operation Houghton. That's what it states.
No, it's the learning report that has the details. Basically, that was the
but this initial report, draft report, was sent. We're told that was sent by the IOPC. I'm just wondering, did you see that? Did you see that?
Not only did I not see that, MOPAC were not aware of the details of the IOPC report until the 27th of January 2022.
They were aware of something.
Correct.
And were you aware of something?
No. Sorry, you know there are cases taking place. You're not sure about the detail.
You hadn't been briefed. This could be worrying, Mr Mayor. We're concerned about it.
Nobody in MOPAC or City Hall was aware of the details, the offensive WhatsApp messages, the systemic cultural issues until the 27th of January. Dame Cressida and the Deputy Commissioner, Assistant Commissioner Helen Ball, my understanding is, were aware. None of them alerted us to the issues.
Okay, and then just one other clarification before I move into a few specifics that I want to pick up with you. We've been talking about minutes. You've talked about copious amounts of material. We all pour over minutes. On the 2nd of February, as it states in paragraph 58, you met privately with the Commissioner, and it says you spoke alone for about 40 minutes. Was there a record of that meeting? Were there any notes of that meeting?
No, the gist of that meeting was similar to the meeting we had afterwards with staff. It wasn't uncommon for Dame Cressida and I to meet on a one-to-one and then to have staff present, because sometimes, human nature, you open it more one-to-one.
Okay, and then paragraph 67 of the report, it claims that you had asked the Commissioner to secure some external legal advice to see if there's any way you could challenge IOPC's position in relation to officers. Just wondering whether you then went on and secured your own legal advice.
No, things moved on, as you know, in the space of the next 9 days. But the point I was trying to get across to Dame Cressida was she was accepting at face value something. And so I'll give you a couple of examples where that doesn't work. In the case of Child Q, the IPC were investigating the officers for misconduct, which I think is not good enough. So I wrote to the IPC and said it should be gross misconduct, and my representations led to them going from misconduct to gross misconduct. If you remember Bianca Williams, the awful case of the stop and search, the Commissioner stood by the officers completely. The Deputy Commissioner went a step further. He said, I've seen the video evidence, right, and I support my officers. I'm paraphrasing. In fact, the Deputy Mayor insisted that the Met Police Service referred to the IPC, and there are now charges pending against those officers. My point was, look, there's an issue here in relation to some serious issues exposed by Operation Houghton. You're accepting at face value the issue of what you're saying in relation to the IPC, which, by the way, even if it is the case, if you take legal advice, A, you can check and you can test the boundaries, but B, you can say to the public, look, my hands are tied. I'm as outraged as you, but the legal advice is quite clear. There's no scope to go forward. And an example where I've done this is in relation to an issue that's pertinent to you, is City Airport. When I became mayor, people were angry about me not taking a bigger stand against City Airport in relation to the expansion. I got legal advice, and the legal advice says this is a hopeless case. You may as well accede to City Airport. So people knew in relation to my views about the legal advice was quite clear, and I couldn't understand why Dame Cressida wasn't taking legal advice.
In the end, What this entire exchange revealed was a system stretched between accountability, communication failures, and deep structural problems within the Metropolitan Police. The mayor defended his earlier support for extending the commissioner's contract, arguing it was a matter of democratic process, continuity, and courtesy, mirroring the approach taken by his predecessor. But as new facts emerged, confidence in the commissioner steadily eroded. Critical information about misconduct, cultural failings, offensive WhatsApp messages, and systemic issues wasn't shared with City Hall until months after others already knew. And as more incidents came to light, from Operation Hotun to the tragic failures surrounding Sarah Everard and the horrific cases linked to Stephen Port, the pressure on leadership intensified. The mayor insisted he had repeatedly raised concerns, pushed for inquiries, challenged assumptions, and sought transparency. Yet the delays in communication, gaps in oversight, and resistance to external scrutiny exposed a deeper question about how the Met was truly being run and who was ultimately responsible for ensuring that change happened. By the time legal advice, accountability, and cultural reform became pressing issues, the relationship between City Hall and the commissioner had become strained beyond repair. The mayor argued he pushed for reviews, inquiries, and tougher action, but questioned why clear warnings and opportunities for early intervention were missed. This conclusion leaves us with a stark reality: leadership decisions were shaped not only by what was known, but by what wasn't shared, and by a system that too often shielded itself from scrutiny. So the real question is this: when warnings go unheard and accountability breaks down, who should we ultimately hold responsible, those who failed to act, or those who failed to inform? If you found this analysis useful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, so you never miss our next political update.